The five wise versions. Foolishness versus kindness. Hi everyone, it's Maria Maumela. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for liking, for subscribing, for sharing, and for commenting on my videos. Um, I wanted to talk about a topic that just reminded me of the five virgins, and I just changed my title altogether. The Bible tells us of a story of the 10 virgins. There were five wise virgins and five foolish ones. The five wise virgins had thought ahead and had extra oil in case it took the groom a long time to come. And then the five foolish ones just took enough, what they thought was sufficient. They didn't think what would happen should there be a delay. Like they did not have any preparations for any unforeseen things to happen. So they were not as prepared as the five wise virgins. So when it happened that the groom delayed, and they had to be told to get up, and they said, well, the groom is finally here. The wise ones had extra oil and they were able to put on their lamps, but the five foolish ones began to ask the wise ones for the oil. And out of kindness they could have just given them the oil, they could have shared the oil, but it just wouldn't make sense. Like their kindness was going to cost them more than they could give. Them giving that oil, that reserve oil, would have been foolishness. It would just not be kindness anymore. It would just be foolishness. Okay, so sometimes in our kindness we can make foolish decisions. Like the Lord wants us to show love, to show kindness and gentleness to people, but we need to be careful that it doesn't cost us more than it should. It shouldn't cost us an arm and a leg. It's not supposed to be like that. Okay, I have a dream to share. I dreamed that I dreamt that I there was a service, there was a church service, and I had invited people to the service, and I was like, guys, there's a church service that's happening. And so I was just encouraging people to come, and I volunteered to take the people to the church. So the plan was, I go to church, yes, I'm going to take them, we go together, enjoy the service, and then when the service is done, then I will go and drop off the people. Okay, so it's a good thing, it's a good thing. But listen to how my dream played out. We arrived at church, and then the people went inside the church. So there I was, waiting for everybody to be out. I locked. And when it was my time to go into the church, I saw these three young men. No, was it three? No, it was four young. Yeah, I saw three young men and a little boy. So I just decided to go, and I knew something was wrong. So I decided to go to them, to speak to them and find out what was happening. And then it so happened that there was a problem with the car. There was just this long story. All I understood is that they had to take care of this problem. And um, actually, sorry, there was actually, initially there was two older brothers and a younger brother. They said that their older brother had left to go sort out the car problem, but he hadn't returned. So now they were getting worried. As I asked more about them, I realized that these children were PKs. These kids were the pastor's kids, not the pastor of that particular church, but from another church. Okay, and I'm like, okay, so they're good kids. They're not lying. That's what I told myself. And they said to me, all we need for you to do is just to babysit our younger brother. We're just going to go quickly to check on our brother and to understand what is happening. And understand that these people are on a separate room. It was on a room that was facing the parking lot, and the service is already going on. And they said, like, we can't just leave our younger brother. And the two brothers said, not just one of us can go, at least the two of us can go. We were able to sort out this mess. So it's like, I understood that both brothers had to leave. Okay, out of the kindness of my heart, I said, well, go ahead, I will babysit the brother. So I had to babysit him. I couldn't go in church because I had to be there to find out what's happening. Did they find the brother? Is the car coming? What's happening? So I waited. You guys, I waited and waited. Okay, with this little boy, trying to keep him busy. And then when the service was almost over, it was then that those two brothers came back. I was happy and relieved to see them. I'm like, okay, so did you find your brother? That's when the brother walked in and I could see this older brother. And when I saw him, I'm like, so are you people sorted out now? They were like, no, we're not sorted. As a matter of fact, now we even need a ride home. They gave another long story of how they couldn't sort out. I can't even remember the details of their story, but it was all about this car, and they were in trouble. All they just wanted to do was just to just get home, and they will sort everything out at home. So now the church is almost over. Okay. So now as you are busy sitting there trying to figure out like what are we going to do now, it was then that I saw the people I had come with, the people I had given a lift to. Okay. I saw them begin to come out. I said to the guys, I'll be back. So I went. I mean, it was hot, and I decided instead of letting the people wait outside, let me rather give them the car key so that they can wait inside the car for me as I try to sort out the problem with these kids. And when I'm done sorting them out, then I'll be able to know like what is the way forward, because I knew the situation. How then do I leave them behind? Perhaps we could make a plan. I don't know, but I needed time to think. But I was thinking like these people I'll be burning in the sun. So I gave one of the guys my car keys. Okay. I don't know why I didn't just unlock the car and then just leave. No, I gave them the car keys. Okay, and then I went inside back again with the guys, making calls, trying to see if there's anyone that can come pick them up, and there was no one. And I said to them, looks like we have no choice. I told them that the car is full. You just have to do an overload. We just have to squeeze each other so that I can quickly just drop them off. I felt like that's a good thing. And then we started to walk out. As we walked out facing the parking lot, I looked, guys, there was no car. There was not a single car in the parking lot. The people whom I had offered a ride, they waited and felt like I was delaying them, that I was wasting their time. So they took my car and left with it. And at that time, I heard children calling my name. I looked behind and I saw two young kids. In the dream, I had two little girls. And they had left me with those two little girls. They left me with two young kids to walk home. No call, no nothing, no message, nothing. They just left. I was livid. I was angry. I couldn't believe it. Like I was just done. I was just done. And I said to the guys, look, I was gonna help you. Looks like I also need a ride home. Okay. And I started to walk. Luckily I had some change in my pocket so I could get a taxi. But I was in an environment I'm not even used to. So I remember I started walking in this neighborhood. I walked out of the church. I left the guys to sort themselves out because I had my own problems now. And I'm walking very slowly with these two little girls. Their ages were ranging I could say between age 3 and 5. And I began to walk with them. I saw a tuck shop and I thought, there, let me go get something for the girls to eat. Any snack, any sweets will keep them busy, and they won't be able to, like, they won't mind me going up and down trying to figure our next step if they're busy chewing on something. So I got into the tuck shop, got some goodies for the girls, and I asked the guy that was selling, like, where is the main road? Where can I find taxis? And then that's when he showed me the opposite direction. Apparently, we were even walking the wrong way. So we had to go back. So I started to walk back with the girls. I was so upset. I was so upset. I remember thinking, like, you see, from now onwards, I'm just going to make sure that I'm just focused on my own things. I'm just focused on my own things. And in the dream, I actually lived with some of the people that were that I brought to church, and I felt like those people who lived with me, I felt in my heart that they are the ones who had the nerve to actually start the car and leave me behind, because the other people were not used to me like that. It was then that I decided that I'm going to move out. I'm going to move out. I won't be bothered again with those people. That's what I was thinking as I was walking with the two little girls as we were making our way to the main road so I can get a taxi. Okay. So the interpretation of the dream is very much straightforward. My kindness cost me a lot. It's okay. It was okay for me to give the people a ride to church, but for me to give them the keys, like it was kind of me to think that okay, they are going to burn in the sun, but I did not have to give them the car keys. I could have just unlocked the car, rolled down the windows and just left them and let them wait. Yes, they could have waited. As much as I've shown them kindness, I also had it's my right to be kind to whoever I wanted to be kind to. And again, coming to these teenage stories, these teenagers, they made me miss a church service. I found myself babysitting. I found myself babysitting. I should have just, if I wanted to hear the story, I could have went there, understood the story, and told them that, look, I don't have a problem so long as I take this boy with me in church. And if he can't stay in church with me, then I can't help him. I should have been selfish with my time to say, I'm not gonna do that. I'm not going to do that. And with regards to the car keys, I did not exactly walk all the way to the parking lot. I just saw one of the guys and I gave him the key so he can unlock it. So in other words, I could have also been selfish with my time and decided they will wait in the shade. If I'm lazy to walk all the way to the parking lot to open for them, if the parking lot is too far for the remote to work, then what I was supposed to do is I was supposed to finish what I was doing. They were gonna wait. They could find a shade and wait for me, you know? So in my kindness, I was overstretching, and in the end, I suffered. In the end, I suffered. But at the end of the dream, like I remember thinking, like after I've shown them such kindness, why would they leave me with two young children? Like the kindness that I showed them, like they couldn't even show it back to me. Like where was mercy? Where was the mercy? How could they leave me with two young children? Who does that? Who does that? So I was so angry. I remember thinking like, I'm not gonna stay with these people anymore. I'm moving out. I'm finding my own place. I'm gonna leave them to sort themselves out because I show my kindness and this is how they thank me. I'm done. So in our kindness, let us be wise. Okay, let us be wise. And I remember I was also watching this other movie. It's amazing that the Lord was busy talking to me about being kind, but in a wise way. I remember I was watching this Bollywood movie. I hardly ever watch the Bollywood movies because they take forever. Okay, I need 2 days to watch those movies. Okay, so I was watching this movie, and luckily I was able to actually watch this one in a day. And I usually take 2 or 3 days to watch a Bollywood movie. So yeah, I watched this movie, and it was about this young lady. She was so kind and so sweet, but her kindness almost made her look like she was dumb, like she was just too trusting, like she would just open up her life, open up her world to people who would even cause her harm, and people who showed her that they were not for her. Like she would still open up her life, like she could still be loving and kind, but she would literally open up her life, telling them everything that she was up to. I remember thinking like, she's so dumb, she's so stupid. And even to the point where she had grown, she was married, and she still would open herself to the people who were against her, and they actually made her blind. Okay, out of this her kindness, it actually caused her to be blind, and her blindness was even caused by these people, and she didn't even know. And throughout this whole thing, I was just angry and upset that how can she be so dumb? And it with all of that, then it was then that the stepmother was called in because now she's blind, to help to take care of her now that she has a baby. And she was just there to make her life miserable and trying to also break her marriage because the stepmother's daughters, two of them were both not married. So during the entire time, I was just upset and angry with her. Like, how can she be so foolish? How can she be so dumb? To the point where the husband had to sit her down and he was like, what the heck is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Why do you keep bringing these people close into your life when you know that they're trying to just dig a hole for you? And I'm thinking to her, like, she's so dumb. The movie was full of different scenarios that shows foolishness. I remember thinking, like, she's so dumb and she's so dumb. But I ended up seeing When the movie was done, it was then that I started to see bits and pieces of my personality in her. And I remember feeling so sad, and I didn't feel like I was kind. I more like felt like I was dumb. Like in our kindness, we need to be wise. In our kindness, we need to be wise, you know? And I remember there was even there's this other lady who once said this, and her words never really left me. She was saying, "Wow, Maria, you are just too sweet. You are just too sweet, too sweet." And I remember it left me wondering, like, am I too sweet to survive in this world? Like, am I too soft to survive in this world? Should I have a much harsher, harder exterior? You know, it made me to think a lot about that. But now that many days have went past, I've had looking in hindsight, I realized that all it meant is, in my kindness I must just remember to be wise. In my kindness I must just remember to be wise. Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at my notes, you guys. So, jealous and envious people are dangerous. We need to leave them alone to God. Sometimes we put close to us people we know very well that they are jealous and envious of us, but we bring them around us, even around our children, knowing very well that they're capable of hurting us, they're capable of hurting our children, they're capable of hurting what matters to us, of destroying what's important to us, but we just never learn. It's like being foolish, just like this woman. I remember thinking, like, when you look at someone else outside of you, it is then that you're able to look and see things that we need to correct. It made me think of friendships I should have long dissolved, but I kept on nurturing throughout the years, even though I knew, like, this person has got some good qualities, yes, but there is this other side of them that just don't sit well with me. That's just the side of them that just don't sit well with me. And I remember there was a time when I was with this particular friend, and the Lord would just, and now I know it was just the Lord doing this deliberately. The Lord always made sure that when I was with this person, whenever we went out, people would compliment me, and I would see her face just literally turn green. And I just felt sad and sorry for her. For me, I just took it like, well, it's a bit annoying when you're with someone and they compliment them and they don't compliment you. I felt like, shouldn't they be complimenting the both of us? Not seeing that God was trying to let me know, like, this person's heart is like this. And it took years before I finally could remove myself from the person. It really took years, and it was through serious things that happened that made me to finally take scissors and just cut off the friendship for good. Okay, so in our kindness, let us be wise. In our kindness, let us be wise. It's not supposed to cost us an arm and a leg. It's not supposed to cost us a pound of flesh and a cup of blood. No. So yeah, that's what I wanted to share with you guys. Thank you. God bless.